All right. So this really fits well, kind of like how last week when Greg Smith enters the portal and Zaquan Patterson's taken a visit, we just also talk about our safeties with Braylon Womack, Caden Hall. We didn't talk about someone, Jamarian Gordon, but he's someone else to also look at for Florida. But now you have DeAndre Robinson enter the portal, and you bring Brendan Bett on an official. And defensive line recruiting, I think, could be even more deeper class for us than the safety room could be. I sent you a list of 5 names, I think it was. The 2 names on that list that I'm very confident in the Gators landing. Valden Stone, he's a recruit. I'm pretty sure he plays in Virginia right now, but he's from overseas. Someone that's recently been starting to get a lot of recognition. He's up to 139 on the On3 industry rankings. What is he on 247 composite? I know you have that up.
He is 172.
Okay, so a little bit higher on the industry rankings, but 247 has him as their 41st ranked player. ESPN unranked, Rivals 189, and On3 271. So he's someone that I would not be shocked if he finishes as like a top 100, maybe even higher player in this class. Very high upside, 6'3.5", 320. Is there any big difference for 247 has him listed?
Sorry, among defensive linemen, you're saying?
No, the height. On3 has 320.
6'3", 316 on 247.
All right, so yeah, very similar there. So no discrepancy there. Someone that I've heard we've led for the past couple months. We've had recruiting predictions put in the past couple months as well for him. I fully expect us to land him. His visits. He has a visit scheduled 6. His official. On3 only has us as an official visit. Is that same?
It looks like he also has officials to Alabama the week before and Oklahoma the week after.
Let me pull these up.
According to
yep. So he visits us June 13th. He has visits Oklahoma on June 20th and Alabama on June 6th. I mean, you got 2 SEC schools, Alabama, best program of all time, theoretically, probably. But yeah, someone I fully expect us to land, and I'm really high on this guy.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting to me about him, like when you kind of look at him, is he definitely seems like a guy who is a late bloomer and could even rise even more. Guy coming from Europe, was born and grew up in Sweden, only played football for a few years. So he's already and he reclassified. He reclassified from 2027 to 2026. So he's young. He's new to the sport. He's from like a European transplant. So like this is a guy who's already become a top Cameroonian descent. Yeah. So he's a guy who's already become a top 200 player. In spite of that, like, probably not a guy you would see make an immediate impact for the Gators in 2026 if they get him, but you got to like the ceiling there, considering, he's a guy who is still kind of green and kind of raw, you would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Also was participated in Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu. So he's someone that's a multi-sport athlete. So that athleticism is going to be there, do all that. Was a standout in the 2025 Navy All-American Bowl. So he has some experience against 2025 players. So maybe he could be closer to ready day one than we expect. But again, he's someone I expect us to land. Someone that we actually got a prediction to land just yesterday or the day before. I've heard we've led for him as well for the past couple months. Vodney Cleveland, formerly decommitted from Auburn, I believe, out of Birmingham, Alabama. On3 industry ranking has him as 117. On3 has him unranked. 247 has him at 51. ESPN 202 and Rivals 148. So again, he's someone that if On3 or ESPN, like if these recruiting sites give him a little bit of a boost, he's someone that could easily be in that top 100 and could also jump into that top 75, maybe even 50 range.
Yeah, decommitted from Alabama. Actually,
decommitted from Alabama. Okay.
In December. So yeah, Auburn's still in the mix here. Florida's the only one with an official as far as I can tell. On May 30th.
Is that official?
May 30th.
That's the first day of officials.
Yeah.
We could get him to commit on that day. I mean,
yeah.
We just got a prediction to land for him, so.
Yeah, obviously decommitted from Bama, you would assume they're not really a player here. Auburn is a player here, and he's a Birmingham kid, but all the smoke here seems Florida at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, listed at 6'3", 305s, 139 in the 247 composite. What was Sohn listed at? Sohn was 320. Would Sohn
Yeah.
possibly more be a nose tackle and Vodney
Yeah,
Cleveland
he
maybe
kind
a
of
D tackle?
you would maybe think like Sohn's built a little more like that. Yeah, Cleveland maybe is built a little bit more like a three
No.
technique kind of guy.
Yeah, I see that. So they could be two players that start alongside each other. Right now, of the 5 players we're going to talk about, these are the guys, sorry, that I fully expect us to land. I mean, we're the only team with a visit set for Vodney Cleveland. Now, someone that has decommitted this early in the cycle could worry you later on down the line about, about other teams coming to try to flip him again, or flip him in general. But all you can ask for at this point is to lead for players and get them on visits and get them committed, which it seems like we have a really good shot of doing for both Valden Sohn and Vodney Cleveland.
Mhm.
And getting just those 2 guys would probably be our best defensive line class. I mean, in a while. Like, it's since I can remember as a Florida fan.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously you got LJ in a year, but in terms of like getting like multiple
And LG's an
guys,
edge rusher for us now, so
true. Yeah, he was listed as a DL as a recruit, right? Like not an edge.
yeah, he
Okay.
was. But most people expected him to come here and be a edge rusher. He was an F, so he was a D end / edge rusher. So it really depends on how you want to list it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely the best interior class I could remember in quite a while. No doubt about it.
I'm trying to pull up one thing. The next player we're going to talk about, because I read something about him like a couple days ago. Kendall Gerville, from Fort Myers, Florida. He's ranked 134 on the industry ranking, 145 in the composite.
Mm-hmm.
247 has him at 74 on 3, 118 ESPN 256, and Rivals unranked. All 3 of these guys have one site that's really high on them, another that's like middle high on them, one that's low, and then one that has them unranked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is Florida guys right there to keep them out being the top 50. Conspiracy
Wait, Mertz
alert,
got picked? Sorry to derail, but Mertz got picked according to George by the Texans. Unless he's trolling
Hold
us.
up.
I don't think George would
He
troll
did.
us. Wow. That's cool.
Oh my
Good
goodness.
for Graham. Good
yeah.
for Graham, man. I'm happy for him. 6th round pick too. That's pretty cool.
I mean, I gotta go say something real quick in chat.
I think Graham would have been like a lock to be like a 4th or 5th guy if he hadn't gotten hurt this year. So
I always say, I said it last week, I think, if Ian Book could get drafted, so can Graham Mertz.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think Graham would have been like a lock to get drafted if he wasn't coming off the injury this year. A little surprised he did in spite of it, but that's really cool.
There hasn't been much talk about it, but thinking about it, these QBs later on in the rounds do end up getting picked on. It's like it's pretty cool. I mean, Graham Mertz over Quinn Ewers. Who would have predicted that 2 years ago?
It's pretty funny. I mean, Tyler Shuck, that's what I told a guy I know who's a Texas Tech fan. Is like, imagine someone tells you 2 years ago that Tyler Shuck gets drafted before Quinn Ewers.
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just can't see you.
Well, let's see if this works. Perfect. All right.
There we go.
Didn't have to leave. But I mean, Tyler Shuck, that pick was funny. All right, let's focus on this, and then we'll talk about Graham Mertz afterwards.
Yeah.
Funny comment. But I read something on Kendall Gerville a couple days ago, and it just slipped my mind. I can't remember if it was about us being like the leaders or us being like in a close battle for first. Out of Fort Myers, already said his rankings, same area as Sohn and Cleveland. Out of Fort Myers, 6'4", 315, 6'4 and a half, 315.
He's listed 6'5" on 247. 6'5", 310 on 247.
Yeah, there you go. Big guy, this is like the type of player that could end up being like your dominant, high ceiling type of defensive tackle that everyone's talking about in a couple years from now. Has a bunch of visits scheduled. June 13th for Florida, June 20th for Texas, June 6th for Georgia, and May 30th for Florida State. So now that I see that, it was either it's like a battle between Florida and Texas, or it was like a Florida State thing. It was one of those two. We're the only team listed as warm on 247. Now that could be nothing. That could be nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really put a lot of stock in that.
No. But from Fort Myers, if he wants to stay in state, then Florida probably is the better choice compared to FSU. Now we're biased, obviously, but I mean, just look. FSU went 2-10, and FSU isn't going to do good this year. Florida has DJ Lagway. Enough said. But I mean, you find a way to get all three of Gerville, Sohn, Cleveland. I mean, one of those guys at least is going to finish in the top 100, maybe two, maybe all three, possibly have one finish in the top 50. Like, I mean, that's just a really good D-line class. And you look at it right now, from what I've heard, Mbachu isn't much of a D tackle and is more of an F. So you have McLeod, who was in the 200s, I believe, maybe 300s. So lower 4-star. But then you go before that, DeAndre Robinson was like 254, maybe. I was looking at, so 254 is like the number that comes to my head. But then outside of him, no one. The year before, I can't think of who was a defensive tackle there before we recruited. So Billy hasn't really recruited defensive tackle well, and D-line in general well. But now you go get Gerville, Sohn, Cleveland. Probably going to land two of those guys at the minimum. I'm assuming like Billy doesn't get fired and the season's not a downfall like some say it could be. I mean, that's a really, really good year.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way you look at it. I think Sohn and Cleveland are kind of look like, I don't know, I don't say locks, maybe more so Cleveland than Sohn, but like two guys you feel like you're in a pretty good position for. I think you get those two, and I think you'd ideally like to get a third of we're talking about 5 guys here today, and I think you'd like to get a third in that group outside of Sohn and Cleveland. And I would say Gerville right now is probably the one of the last 3 we're going to talk about. Like I'd say he's probably the one that seems to be best. The Gators seem to be best positioned for right now. I mean, would you agree with that?
Of the last 3 that we're about to talk about. Yeah.
Of him and the 2 guys we're about to talk about. He seems like the one of those 3 that Florida's best positioned for.
Yeah, I would also, I would agree with that statement. Yeah, I mean, the Mertz news is ringing in my head right now. Anything else we got to say on him? So I can't, either FSU or Texas is like the main competition there. I mean, Georgia is getting a visit. You can never count out Georgia and Kirby Smart. But based on the news we're getting today, it's one of those 2. I just can't remember which one it was.
I mean, my only thing here is like if you're getting Sohn in Cleveland and maybe he gets recruited pretty hard by Georgia and Texas and you don't get Gerville because of that. Like that's not the end of the world if that happens. But I mean, yeah, I think you can afford to take maybe 3 here because it's like it's not really a position where you've got a ton of guys waiting in the wings developing. Jamari Lyons hasn't played a ton, but he's a veteran. You got Mekhi Boy-Rowe. Obviously, Caleb Banks is going to be moving on after this year, so you need to build up depth. So I think you could manage to take 3 of these guys if you can.
Okay, let's see. I found an article real quick. Okay. Oh, maybe I was wrong here. Okay. Florida is right behind Texas. Georgia is still number 1 as things are moving. This was April 13th.
Okay.
So
it's like 2 weeks ago.
Maybe I was wrong there. I don't know. But whatever. I'm trying to move on from Gerville. Next player we'll talk about, the one I've heard the least about, and I think this guy might be also more of an F, Elijah Golden from... Did he move? Is he in Sarasota or Virginia now?
247 says Sarasota.
On 3 has him for Cardinal Mooney and King George, Virginia.
That's what 247 also lists Cardinal Mooney. They just have it as Sarasota.
Okay, honestly, only reason I put him in here.
Oh no, there's a Cardinal Mooney in Sarasota. There is a Cardinal Mooney,
but it says King George, Virginia. Oh,
huh?
Maybe he's from. Okay, I think he's from Virginia.
Okay,
and that explains.
Could
like
also
a lot
just
of
be on 3
schools.
making like a clerical error.
Yeah. Yeah, but like you have the other
Safety from Navy.
schools.
So I understand Jaguars apparently took a safety from Navy.
We're taking a lot of interesting picks. That's what how it really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, get back onto him. I haven't heard much about him. Based on his size, he kind of looks like a tweener between a defensive tackle and the F we have it listed as. He's ranked 243 on the On3 industry rankings, 85 on ESPN, and 106 on 247. But On3 has him as an unranked 3-star. So you have two sites that are top 100-ish on him, and then two that don't have him ranked. So that's something interesting. A lot of those Virginia, Alabama, Notre Dame, those North Carolina are all listed pretty high. I don't expect us to land him.
Yeah.
Really, again, the only reason I even put us down is because he is from, he's in Sarasota, and we talked to him a little bit. Does he have an official visit scheduled?
He does, May 30.
He does,
then the next 2 weeks he has visits to Oklahoma on the 6th and Alabama on the 13th of June.
Yeah, so, he's from Sarasota. He's visiting us May 30th. Maybe they like him. Like, there's been guys we've landed that, remember when Aaron Childs committed? Do you remember that moment? Or Aaron Childs?
Vaguely. I'm trying to remember specifically.
So we had already had Hayes and Miles Graham committed. So it's like, and there was another linebacker that like a lower 4-star, maybe 3-star we were looking at that people thought we would land. And Childs was taking a visit, and it was like Michigan was like the clear leader at the time, but he took the visit and just like committed out of nowhere to Florida. Well, he committed. It was actually at Spurrier's Bar and Grill because they had because that was when Jamonte Waller committed. We had another player commit that was also like pretty highly rated. That was when that class, because it got the top 2. That's when that class blew up, that big weekend. And Aaron Childs was kind of the surprise of it all, to go with Waller. So you get a guy on a visit that you're maybe not expected to land, but you get a good visit, you offer him the right amount of money maybe, and you're the first visit as well. So you could close him down and shut everything down. But I'm not expecting that to happen because you never expect those to happen, but it is something that is possible.
Yeah, I will say I do wonder if the trend we're heading towards with these visits, because I think the conventional wisdom has always been you kind of want the last visit, you want to get the word in last. But with transfer visits, it's almost the opposite. You want to get them on campus first, and you don't want them to leave without committing, because you don't know what some other school is going to offer them on a visit. So I do wonder if these officials for recruits start to play out the same way, where you make an offer and you kind of, put the full court press on, we want you to make a decision on this now. I don't know. Maybe that's the direction we're heading in.
Something else they're doing. Corey Bender was talking about it on another show with Gators Breakdown. Our strategy, we have a really big first weekend of visits. There's a ton of kids coming. They're also having the Friday night light / the barbecue at the end of the month, right before the dead period. So they're trying to be these kids' first visits so they can get a chance to lock them down. They're also trying to be their last visit on that barbecue. So then it's first and last in their mind. And, hopefully in the summer, if they don't commit after the season, you're able to get them to commit before that season starts. So it's a really interesting strategy that if you can get those kids on a visit, even if you only get the one official, it's still, you're still getting your chance out there, same as everyone else. But if you can get that first official and then be their last unofficial visit, you put yourself in a really good spot. So I like the strategy from Billy and crew.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty wise.
Oh my God. The Gator baseball team, they had 2 on, 0 outs, and they just got a double play. That's
excellent. Excellent.
So now they have 1 on third, but 2 outs. And it's still 0 runs. But yeah, we'll get on to the last player here. The highest rated player, James Johnson, out of Cape Coral, Northwestern Florida, or Northwestern High School. That's a pretty. We've recruited players on Northwestern many times, right?
Miami North. We've definitely gotten guys from Miami. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm bad with remembering high schools, but we've definitely landed a couple Miami Northwestern guys for sure.
Yeah, 100%. He's ranked number 16 on On3. He's their number 1 defensive lineman. Now, 247 has him at 87, ESPN 123, and Rivals 194. 59 in the On3 industry rankings. The 247 composite has him at, isn't like the 80s?
Yeah, he's at 81. 81 in the composite.
81 in the composite. But On3 just updated their rankings where he took a big jump. Maybe you could see that from 247 Rivals ESPN. Maybe one of them gives him a pretty large jump as well. That could boost him up to the top 50 and get into that 5-star possible range.
Yeah, he was outside the top on the 247 composite. He was outside the top 200 in February. So he's boosted his stock pretty tremendously just in the last couple of months.
And I don't think Rivals has updated their rankings in a little bit. So if Rivals gives him a nice bump, he's someone that probably could be inside the top 50. And then, there's a long season ahead still. So he could fall, he could rise. But someone that we could be talking about as a 5-star defensive lineman. 6'2.5", 285. That screams defensive tackle to me. From what I've heard, Georgia's in first right now, but then it's Florida. I know he has. Let me pull up his 247.
Yes.
When we look up James Johnson, a basketball player comes up.
He has 6 official visits right now. This is the highest competition. If these guys we're talking about, this is the one with the most competition right now for sure.
He has 6. Wow. I will say of the 6 I see 5. I see
on his timeline it shows he had. Oh wait, it shows he took one officially with Illinois in April. Can you take official visits April 11th?
That's probably just a bug in the system.
Maybe. So maybe he didn't officially visit Illinois, but he has officially visits. This also says he's supposed to officially visit Penn State on May 16th, which is before.
Yeah, I see that one. The 5 I see: Georgia on the 20th, Florida 13th, Miami the 6th, Syracuse the 30th, and Penn State the 16th. I know, no, you can't take visits that weekend, I think. I saw someone else have an official set for then. Okay. But yeah, from what I was told, Georgia's the current leader. The most amount of visits he's taken is to Florida. He's taken 8 visits to Florida, 4 to Miami, and then it's like 2 for a bunch of schools. But yeah, Georgia's like the main competition here. I'm not really worried about Syracuse. I mean, Penn State, they land good amount of players. But when you have Florida and Georgia and Miami competing for a high-level player, like all 3 of them, I doubt Penn State's a true competition here. You never know with Miami. Like, they've been very weird on the trail the past couple of years now. And the recruiting end, or in the transfer portal end. So really, I think the main competition here is between Florida and Georgia. Georgia's the announced leader, but he takes a visit to Florida and then to Georgia. Sorry. But with those official visits, anything can happen. And I mean, for a player of this magnitude, it's never going to be easy. I mean, we saw it with LJ McCray. I've talked about this a lot. I don't know if you've seen this before. The day before LJ McCray committed to Florida, 247, they're having their shows because it's that time. And they did on YouTube a poll. Where does LJ McCray land? The 4 options were Georgia, Miami, Florida State, and other. So 247 didn't even have Florida listed as an option for LJ McCray.
That's funny.
The day before he committed to us.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, you never know with these highly rated guys. I mean, I don't know when he plans to commit. So this could be something that's over by the summer, and we'll know who he's going to commit to really after he takes his officials. Or if it's something that will drag out until signing day.
Yeah.
But
I'd say, like, if I'm being honest, like if I'm just like banking on kind of what we know here, I'd say this probably looks like a bit of an uphill battle for Florida, just because first of all, obviously tough to compete with Georgia for guys in the trenches, but also I just think Florida has like some of the guys we've talked about, they can get a little bit easier. So it's like if you can get Sohn and Cleveland and Gerville, like I don't know, do you make the effort for James Johnson, even though he's a really good player, if it might just mean, losing out to Georgia in the long run anyway? Like that's kind of where I'm coming from there.
So from what I've heard, when you have these high level players, you have your roster spots, and like unless you land one of these guys like early on in the cycle, if they drag it out, you have your roster spots. But then if you have like these 5-star level players, they're takes no matter what. I mean, it was like Dallas Wilson. He was a take no matter how many receivers we signed. Vernell Brown, you could say, but we landed him early on. LJ McCray was the same. There were other defensive linemen we were looking at, but no matter what, LJ McCray's a take. I mean, I doubt we land all 4 of Gerville, Johnson, Stone, Cleveland.
I mean,
but let's say you get those 3 committed, and you have enough money. You're still pressuring on Johnson Jones. Oh my God, Johnson. I think I said Jones a couple times, but if you get all of those guys and Johnson's still interested in coming, he wants to compete with the best, because that's how you build those elite rosters. You stack talent. I wouldn't be shocked if we're the pick.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's possible. I think if that happens, you're probably going to see Florida not go after one of those other 3 guys. I mean, it's hard to imagine they take 4 interior guys in the same class. That just would be pretty. I mean, I don't want to say, you never turn down talent at a position of need, but at the same time, like, that is a lot of guys to take in one class at a position where you're only playing, 3 or 4 regularly total. So yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of like you shoot your shot, you see what happens on the visits. Hopefully you lock up Cleveland before it even matters, which is kind of the goal at this point. And then you kind of see just what's going on with Stone. Stone's more of a project guy anyway, I feel like. So you could kind of justify taking him and another guy that's more instant impact. So yeah, I mean, I think you just see what's going on with Johnson when he comes on campus and see where you stand with Georgia, decide if you have a chance. But I think, on the bright side, it's a major position of need, and there's no shortage of options who Florida seems to be pretty heavily in the mix for.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to see if there's like precedent of teams taking this many highly rated defensive tackles. And I'm not really seeing, my first gut was Georgia, but I'm looking through their classes.
I bet they don't even. Yeah.
No. I mean, like, this would be a really good, let's see, Michael Williams, they took 5-star. He just got drafted in the second round. Bear Alexander. So that's
he got drafted in the first round, didn't he?
Kristen Miller. Yeah, Michael, first round. I mean, so yeah, here we go. I mean, Bear Alexander, Michael Williams, Kristen Miller. Let's see, did they take a 4th? Nope. So they took 3.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so not 4. So, I mean, You're looking at probably only 3, but never say never,